This is Dolynny TV and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. Quickly, before I begin getting into what this video is really about, the Bakersfield Condors, well, you know what, it was a sure thing in my mind. Went out there, a 3-2 victory over top of the Colorado Eagles in Game 1, so right on, let's go Bakersfield. If we can get some Go Condors Go in the comments below, that'd be excellent. Start off the video the right way. But more importantly, today I'm getting into again the free agent discussion, right? Had a little bit about it on the Jordan Eberle idea because there's a lot that could be moved around, but the major component I think everybody's preoccupied with when it comes to signing any free agent, whether he be worth $500,000, which theoretically is impossible, or signing a guy that's worth $10 million, is the backup goaltending situation. And the situation sits as such because we obviously have Anthony Stolarz, who will be in UFA, and you have really nobody in the minors that appears ready, but there might be a guy. And really, what's the free agent goaltending market look like in the NHL this year? So I'm going to break it down here. Obviously, when you're looking back up to Mikko Koskinen, you're trying to look 1A. That's, well, actually, it would be a 1B because Koskinen would be 1A. Essentially, you're looking for that same setup that was supposed to be Talbot Koskinen this year. Didn't work, obviously, because betting on Talbot was a dead horse bet, but nonetheless. Sergei Bobrovsky, Semyon Varlamov, Mike Smith, Cam Talbot, Cam Ward, Thatcher Demko, Brian Elliott, Michael Neuvirth, Anders Nielsen, Antti Niemi, Ryan Miller, Chad Johnson, Peter Mrazek, Robin Lehner, Michael Hutchinson, and Keith Kincaid. Those are your guys that I sit here and look at seriously to be backup goaltenders for the Oilers. Those are like your top 15, would you? And there's a lot of names there that you automatically have to exclude. Obviously, you think Bobrovsky, Varlamov, Smith, Talbot, Demko's an RFA, so exclude him. And really anyone else on there, well, Robin Lehner's probably out, Peter Mrazek's probably out. So right there, you've got yourself maybe a pool of 7-8 guys that you can actually pull from and get backup goaltending out of. But that's the thing. The key term there is backup goaltending. Exclude Talbot. Well, he was a starter, but he's nothing more than a backup. But even as a backup on the Oilers, no thank you. So you look at who would be available. Well, Mike Smith, a guy who at times struggled with consistency. Mike Smith, not a guy I would pick. Obviously, well, you saw kind of what happened, right? Is now if you guys argued with the Jordan Eberle take that, oh, he had such good playoffs, he's going to demand that what he was making already. Well, here's the thing. Mike Smith was making $5.6 million this year and an .898 save percentage, .273 goals against average. The playoffs, though, he did, compared to everybody else on Calgary, I guess is how I should put it, excellent. You got to think about how many shots the Avalanche put up in Game 3 and 4, was it? I didn't see the shot total for Game 5, so forgive me there. But Mike Smith obviously goes in. He won 23 of 42 games, so a 500 goaltender. Well, okay, suddenly you're talking maybe all right. And you talk at 273 goals against average. So that's Mike Smith. Cam Ward, 367, 897 save percentage, 16 wins in 33 games. He's getting old. Not what the Oilers are looking for, I don't think. Hard pass. He was making $3 million this year. The next guy, Brian Elliott, same thing. Getting old, 34 years old. 11 games, 296 goals against average, 907. At times was down with the injury bug a lot this year for Philadelphia. So there you go. I don't know if you're looking for that in a 1B. Now you've got Michael Neuvirth, who, scratch him, just move on. Just don't, if you're thinking about commenting Neuvirth would be a good idea, just write that comment on paper, throw it out the window, and pretend it never existed. Anders Nielsen, this is the one that intrigues me because this is a tough market for Anders Nielsen, I think. You've got a bunch of goaltenders that are a lot more prominent than him, but didn't have as good of seasons. He made $2.5 million this year, and you can either look at the market will set what Anders Nielsen gets, or Anders Nielsen will set what the market gets, depending which happens first. And that's exciting to see because Anders Nielsen, a guy that I believe we've had before. Honestly, I think so. I'm sure I'm not crazy. Yeah, I'm not crazy. Come on now. I remember Anders Nielsen in the Oilers organization. See, I'm second guessing myself. Yeah, Edmonton Oilers. He had what 10 and 12 record in the 15-16 season. Oh, the forgettable 15-16 season. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's Anders Nielsen, and a 297 goals against average, 908. He's 29, so coming in his 30-year-old season, if you could get him for 1.85 after the market's been set, I think you'd do fine. But is Anders Nielsen really a guy you want to gamble on again? It's a backup goaltending situation, so don't get me wrong. It's something you can definitely do. However, the thing is, even with a 297 and a 908 save percentage, you'd expect him to be at least 500. But he was in Ottawa, so maybe there's a little bit better goaltending in Anders Nielsen nowadays than what the numbers might suggest this year in 36 games played. That's a gamble. Again, are the Oilers willing to take a gamble? That's up to the new general manager, and I'm really not willing to take a gamble. I want a sure thing. I want a good goaltending core this year, but it's a tough market for it, like I mentioned, and even tougher for the Oilers to be stable in goaltending, even if they had friggin' Sergei Bobrovsky and Robin Lehner in net. Hey, it's the Oilers. Goaltending, always an issue. Ryan Miller, 39 years old. Unless Ryan Miller comes in and says, hey, I'm going to be Dwayne Rollison 3.0 or 2.0 or 2.5, 1.5, 1.8, whatever you want to say, don't sign Ryan Miller to a contract. I'd say age just rules him right out of the question mark, even though he had a 276 goals against average and 912 save percentage in 20 games this year. I don't know. He's at that $2 million bubble. You could get him for an all right price, but 40 years old, are you really willing to bet on a 40-year-old goaltender? Now, I will mention there is an asterisk attached to a bunch of these guys that have a little bit of injury history, a little bit of age to them, because there's something in the minor leagues sheltering us a bit. However, you go down to a guy like Chad Johnson, well, 879, 363, 19 games played in Anaheim. Anaheim was crap. Don't pretend Anaheim was good. Anaheim was crap. But are you willing to bet on a guy having a rebound season at age 34? Again, that's my question to you. Now, you've got Michael Hutchison and Keith Kincaid as the last guys kind of on my list here. And they're tough sells to me. They are absolute tough sells, and I will tell you why. You look at this guy here, Michael Hutchison, 327, 887 in 9 games played. He was with Toronto this year, with Florida as well. I think Michael Hutchison's just kind of pricing himself out of the game at this point. Just plays not equaling dollars, equaling a position kind of deal. And then you've got Keith Kincaid, who ended up in New Jersey, played 41 games this year, 336 goals against average, 891 save percentage. Again, New Jersey, crap this year. Goaltending was an issue, though, when Mackenzie Blackwood wasn't in net. So, again, what do you think of this market, guys? Maybe give me a comment on that first. This is the goaltending market available to the Oilers this year. And now becomes the time I mentioned that asterisk. If you're willing to take a gamble on a guy who's injury prone, willing to take a gamble on a guy who's old, we have an asterisk on the team that can get the job done for us. Obviously, every year, 3 to 4 teams are going to suffer through a 2-month stretch where they have goaltending problems, issues, injuries, something happening. And that's exactly where maybe taking a gamble on one of these guys, him not panning out, you just shipping him off for absolutely nothing in return, right? A 4th, 5th round pick. And bringing up Shane Starett may not be the worst situation. And again, you've heard me call for it a million times. Sorry, my ears are itchy. I was petting the dog and cat at the same time. Allergies, guys. What I've argued pretty much from the start of the year to now, where we've seen Shane Starett come along, get the job done. Shane Starett took control of the AHL crease this year. Good on him, good goes, and great numbers. Now, what I said yesterday is the fact that he needs to have a repeat performance, and that comes in the playoffs. You give him all that combined and a good training camp, why not? Why wouldn't, actually, you bring Shane Starett along as the backup goaltender next year? He's a guy who absolutely goes out and changes games. We've seen that in Bakersfield 100 times this year. We saw it again last night in the playoffs. Not a vintage Shane Starett blowout kind of game, but you know what I mean. It was a great game from many ways, from everything I've seen numbers-wise. If he does that all playoffs long and the Bakersfield Condors lose in 6, win in 6, win in 4, whatever in the AHL final, why not? I don't see why you wouldn't bring along Shane Starett and get him into the NHL. So that's where you can have that asterisk attached to free agents, where you have somebody safe if you ship them out if they're struggling or a team needs a goaltender and Shane Starett's ready, or if you're just ready to roll with a young kid who's looking for a role to get going in this organization other than the AHL starter and give him a chance to win some hockey games in the NHL with a competitive NHL team. Guys, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Who do you think the best goaltender to be that 1B or backup, whatever you want to call it, is for the Edmonton Oilers? I'm Tyson, Dolynny TV. I am up on out of here.